Hey y'all, welcome back to Bet on Black. Today I'm here with Georgina Ogirri of Grisé. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Girl, I'm good. I'm hot. Today is a very hot day in New York. One of the hotter days. I literally have my puffer jacket with me because I thought it was going to be way colder than it is.
I usually have a jacket with me, but I was like,
But
you know what?
pleasantly, it's nice.
Yeah.
And I feel like every time it's this type of weather, I don't know whether to be annoyed or happy. Because I'm happy because it's warmer and it's not raining, it's not snowy.
Exactly.
But I'm a bit annoyed because when I leave the house, it's cold. And then when I leave work at 4 p.m., it's hot as hell.
Exactly.
But
you gotta be prepared. I always layer, so
you can strip down if you want to, bring back up. Period.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna get into it. Grisé is a jewelry brand.
Yeah.
What was your first memory of jewelry growing up?
My first memory was definitely my mother.
Like
that's everything's revolving around her. I remember her butyl, just waking up and like seeing pearls draped within her jewelry cases, and I would just always see her get ready for work, and so the last finishing touch was her jewelry. And so I always just remember jewelry being like that statement and just power. You feel good when you have something shiny, or it gives you some type of like confidence in a way.
Yeah.
And I remember just seeing that with my mother. So
yeah. Can I just say that's so real. And the way that I found you actually was, so I purchased your products like a year ago.
Thank you.
And it's because I was asking people, I was like, I want to get into jewelry, but like, I don't know how, like, where do I start? Am I a silver girl or gold girl or like what, and I don't want to spend $200 on one piece of jewelry just to figure out that it doesn't look good on my skin tone or it's not the type of piece that I want. My friend actually sent me your page and I was like, okay, this is cute. Like woman of color, like, black. Oh, I was like, okay, I definitely want to support as well. So I ordered a bunch of pieces. One of them I'm wearing now. Get into it. Yes, and but since then, honestly, since your pieces and like using that kind of as my starter, now I have such a good collection just of like different pieces from other places. Like when I travel, like I always like to get an earring and like fun things too, like experiment with it a little bit. And I do really think it's made a difference in not only how I feel, because I have to go out with like some earrings on. If like, unless I'm going to the gym, but like if I'm going out, I got to put some earrings on at least. The confidence that I feel, but also in how I'm perceived, which I think is really, really big, and just speaks to the testament of like all that you're doing. And
Thank you. That really warms my heart. For me, I feel like jewelry is a way for people to connect too. Even with like random compliments, it's cool to see how people connect, even though like the world is so big. So even people just attracted to a style of jewelry or a necklace or something reminds them also of the piece that you have on. Like I think there's just also so much power with that and connectivity.
Yeah. You talked about this a little bit, your mom being an inspiration for you. And I did read up that your mom did pass away. My mom also passed away when I was younger. So I understand that sort of trauma and loss. But her being an inspiration for you, are there like key pieces that you remember her wearing that you would sort of, you knew if she put on this, then that meant she was going on a date, or like if she put on this, that was like her work earrings, or like, do you have any of those memories?
I think, which is also not necessarily jewelry. She had a lot of brooches, which for me now I'm actually getting into because I want to put them on hats and stuff like that, and like repurpose it and make it mine, and suit jackets. So that was my like earliest memory of, I know she'd go to work, she'd have a power suit on, and earrings. She would always wear pearl earrings, a little pearl earring and pearl necklace draped. So I just remember that being her signature go-to. She wasn't really big on rings or watches or bracelets. It was mainly earrings, necklaces, and her brooches. I think she would just like start to experiment as I got older with the dangly earrings. And so when I got older, I started noticing the transition as like fashion became more prominent in the world. Like there's more technology, so we have more access to like how people are actually wearing things. So I feel like that's kind of when her style changed a little bit. Also moving to Massachusetts. So I was born in New York, but we moved to Massachusetts after my father passed away. I was about 3 years old when he passed away. So Springfield versus New York City is completely different. you know.
I actually know someone from Springfield, which is like so random, but
so small.
Yeah, we went to school together, and I kind of always make fun of him because I'd be like, Springfield, Massachusetts,
literally.
like, where is that?
No, literally, Western Mass.
Wow.
Western Mass. I still have a license. My license is
how long were you there for? From 3 to...
I was there 3 to 16. Wow. I left my last 2 years of high school to prep school in New Hampshire.
Okay. So pretty much your entire upbringing was there.
Yep.
What was that like?
It was interesting. I'm the youngest of 7. So, yeah, so it was really fun. We always played sports, so that was active. Our lifestyle.
Are you the only girl?
No, I have 2 other sisters.
2 other sisters.
Yeah.
Okay, but the other
4 brothers.
4 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's why basketball, sports in general, because I wanted to be like my older siblings. But it was quiet. We lived in the suburbs, you know, quiet neighborhood. But we kept busy because we're all into something. And being the youngest, it was a ball for me. I just was always busy going to the next place. Everybody knew me because there's a bunch of us. So baby sister, you know. So like for me, I just had the best time. Also, being the youngest, a lot of my siblings as we grew, they were going to college. They were leaving the house. So that's kind of what made me transition into leaving for my last 2 years of high school.
And for undergrad, you went to Parsons, right? So obviously to get into Parsons, you have to be insanely talented and skilled and everything. And just a creative, right? But what made you pick jewelry?
Honestly, my mother. Yeah. She passed away January 20th, 2015. I was about 23 years old. 23. So I was still young. It was still fresh. My priorities were like not where they were now, like as an older person. You know what I mean? Like it was just, I wasn't ready for it. And so when she passed away, it wasn't necessarily jewelry at first. I created the brand Grisé. Her name's Griselina. So that's where it comes from. It's her nickname. And so I remember making the Instagram, and it wasn't necessarily going to be jewelry at first. It was going to be something in her memory. But then as I kind of like, things just come to me, it flows to me. So it just felt right that I was going to do jewelry, because when I was reflecting, I was like, my mom, she would always wear jewelry. And me, naturally, I'd always get compliments on jewelry. I started stacking, mixing metals. That's just me and my vibe. So me just figuring out myself and what I liked, I would just get a lot of compliments. And then kind of putting 2 and 2 together, I was like, you know what, I'm going to make it something meaningful, because I was also grieving at the time, still grieving now. That pain never goes away, you know, and you know. And so, I just remembered I'm going to start this brand in my mother's name. That's the way for me to cope with losing her, but also staying close to her, building her legacy, and just knowing that I'm always going to have a piece of her, and other people are going to have a piece of her, and figure out what jewelry means for them, you know? Right. And so, jewelry became, and it's the easiest thing. It's the last finishing piece. Everybody wears jewelry. It just became, okay, what is going to make my jewelry different, which I focus on quality. To your point earlier, you said you don't want to spend $200 and you might not even love the quality of it, or, you know, and a lot of pieces are valued at that because of the brand name. For me, I wanted to have a jewelry brand that was affordable for everyone, no matter what, and quality. You know, having a piece that you could have for years to come, that you could, you know, share with people you love. If it's older people that have children, they want to pass it down. It's just like a starter. You know, so
her pieces have not tarnished. They have not greened. And like I said, they were like sort of my starter pieces. So I would wear them all the time. Like I didn't have anything else really to wear. And like I've had them for I think about a year, and they look great. So
I love that.
A testament to what you're saying. We're gonna get into the quality and all of that later on, but do you remember the first piece that you ever designed?
Yeah, I think the first piece designing wise was my Mona Lisa piece, because the Yankees pendants, that's like, yes, putting it on a chain and figuring out the width of the chain and like those little details goes into designing, but it wasn't like my own creation. It's a Yankees logo, you know. Definitely the Mona Lisa piece, and that's actually reflective of when I was younger. My mother had a Mona Lisa painting in the garage, and me not knowing that it was a fake, I just always was like, we have a Mona Lisa.
Right.
And so like a lot of pieces in my collection actually reflect things from my childhood or memories that I've had or something to do with my siblings. So everything that I push out is very intentional. Even the earrings that you have on now reminds me of stuff that my mom had. So like a lot of pieces that I do put out are reflective of what I remember growing up. Even just pieces that I wanted when I was younger that I couldn't because my mother didn't let me wear hoop earrings until I was like 14.
I know, that's right.
You know?
Right.
So like, and I was like, why? But now I'm super appreciative.
Right.
Like I wasn't a fast little girl. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
that's what
and your mom was Dominican? Okay.
Yep, she was Dominican.
Yeah.
My father was Nigerian.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very much Caribbean, mother's household.
Not having it at all. So like, for me, it was definitely the hoop earrings. Don't have many of them. Because for me, I like more sculptural or like unique pieces.
Right.
And also versatility, being able to wear it different occasions from day to night, you know, so.
Right. Do you always make your pieces in gold and silver?
I try to. I try to just to give people the option to wear either or sometimes I just do a two-tone and I don't introduce a gold or silver. Just to cater to those that want to experiment, have fun with their jewelry, or they just, you know, they want to try it out. And then I try and do like a dainty or a maximalist option just so if you were more of a minimal person, you feel comfortable versus like wearing something chunky.
For your minimalist one, I have the silver, not basic, but like minimalist one. So I have that one. And then I also have the silver sparkly one.
I love the little huggies.
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know the names of everything, but I definitely pick and choose when I'm wearing what, because it really does make a difference. Yeah. Like if I don't want the earrings to be maybe the center of attention, I'll wear like the more minimalist one, and it just goes with everything. And then if I'm looking to like add a little pizzazz in there, then I'll use the other one. And then this one that I have on is really great because it's gold, but it also has like little speckles of silver in it, which I really like. Because again, like I was saying in the beginning, when I first started out, I didn't know if I was a gold girl or a silver girl, or like, and sometimes I just grew up kind of wearing whatever, and then I learned that people are one or the other. Right. And which is
like navy and black.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like if you're wearing Nike, we're all Nike. Like I don't come up with the most arbitrary fucking rules, but I was still trying to figure that out. What I've realized though is, one, I think gold looks better on me in the summer. Like I just think oranges, ambers, browns is like the summer. And then, but I can do both. And in the winter when it's more cooler, darker, I'm wearing more black and cool tones, then I like to wear my silver.
I'm pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. And then I mix. So like today I was putting these two on, but I liked how they layered. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm wearing totally all gold and silver, and I love it. Right?
Like it just goes.
That's how I felt. That's why I was like, you know what?
No, it really, really goes. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. And I do the same with my rings. I'm like, I only wear me. I only wear me.
Oh my gosh, those rings are amazing. I'll have them zoom in, or I'll zoom in. I'm the editor. I'm like, have you ever like just been walking down the street and seen someone in your pieces? Yeah. How does that feel?
It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. So amazing. But I'm also just like super humbled and like super thankful, and I'll give them a hug just because like that's how I show like I'm super, super grateful just to be embraced and my brand to be embraced, and because I just had a idea and that transformed into creating what you see today, you know, and it's not easy. So to just have people take chances of me, on me and my brand, not knowing the brand sometimes, or getting referred and still taking that chance, like it means the world to me. So it still feels like pinch me because it's like what? Yeah. But it's also always knowing of my greatness and like what I have to offer and where I see myself in the future that I'm like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I know that's right.
You know, like hell yeah.
Yes. And I can't wait to like continue to see your brand grow.
Thank you.
Like we talked about earlier, you know, your commitment to materials that you use and the durability of it. How do you find the materials?
It was a lot of trial and error.
Like, tell me about that. Because as someone that's not, you know, in the business, I'm just always curious about finding like quality products, you know, quality materials.
Right. So for me, when I first started off, I just bought everything from different manufacturers just to like test out quality. From there, that's when I learned like what's not good, or it's dependent on like the electroplating. So for example, I don't really I don't really design in brass or copper because those tend to oxidize over time and they will turn like that reddish tint.
Right, okay.
Especially if you get it wet, or oils. And that's another thing too, being mindful of the perfume. You're totally fine with my jewelry because I do use only stainless steel, and then the gold is 18K gold plated, which, yeah, that within itself is like value and quality. And so once I learned the difference and once I learned, okay, like this is what I want my brand to be, it kind of then positioned me a little bit above like costume jewelry.
Right.
Because I didn't want to be costume jewelry. I didn't want my price points to be super low where then I have to like fight for a higher price in the future.
Because and then also as a customer, you don't feel like you're investing in it.
Exactly.
You know, because if it's like, if this is like Forever 21 jewelry, it's like, let me go to Forever 21.
Exactly.
Like, why am I going
to expect?
Right.
You know what to expect with that.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really trying everything on. I tried things on for months and took a shower with them. My boyfriend's super supportive. He wears silver. That's his thing. So he literally, the thing is now too, I get two samples of everything before I put it out because he's going to take it. Like every time he takes my pieces, which I'm like dope because like A, super supportive, but B, you're a man. So like for you to like pieces and you don't look at it as gender
feminine or
exactly
whatever, yeah.
So like for him to just like the design, I'm like, bet I know like it'll do great.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you go to the jewelry district?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
Not that I haven't yet. I haven't for my brand like specifically.
Okay. Is there any reason?
No, I feel like I've kind of not mastered because I'm always learning and growing. I feel like I kind of found my groove in figuring out what works for me. Like now I could like my manufacturers, they'll send me, oh, like these are kind of like new designs. And then if I like something, I tweak it. You know, like it's very much more hands-on where I don't really have to outsource as much. I kind of know what I like and the suppliers know what I like. So it's not them trying to sell me things or anything, you know? And then my boyfriend just also got a 3D printer. So we're going into customs, what is it? Grills.
Yeah. Oh,
grills.
Wow.
Yeah, so like definitely want to flood that market. I've always liked grills and I've always liked grungy, like just making unique pieces. And I always loved rocks. Like I wanted to be a geologist when I was younger. So that's why you also see a lot of like rugged and imperfect, you know, details and even earrings. Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, it makes sense why certain things are the way they are because it really reflects me what I liked even when I was younger.
So my other question is, how do you balance durability and quality of the materials with like aesthetics? Like, do you ever feel like those two are in competition with each other?
I don't think so, no. I feel like because of my background, like I've always been in fashion, styling, business, e-commerce, like that lane, that I not toot my horn, but like
toot your own horn. This is what Bet on Black. This is what we're supposed to do.
I know, but I'm just always humble. You know what I mean? So for me, I never really talk about myself. I don't love attention. Like I don't take pictures of myself. Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like no, I'm just not. I'm very okay with being behind the scenes, and you just know what I do. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I'm totally cool with that. Yeah. But I will say I have an eye. Like every job that I've had prepped me to own my own brand. I've kind of literally everything that I've done, and I've always worked corporate. So it's like I have that understanding of a different, in a way, platform to deal with the world and not just like a certain niche. You know what I mean? And being a minority female. Right. Like it definitely prepped me to handle whatever. I don't get nervous. Like I stand my own grounds. If I don't feel like this serves me, I'm totally fine with rejecting it and saying no. Like I don't need to sell myself to be seen or heard, you know? So having that confidence and just being able to do what I do. And I don't know, I have that vision. And for me, it's never been I have to choose one or the other with durability or design. It kind of just flows. I could see, okay, a lot of things is what I would wear and a lot of people like my style and just like how I wear what I have. So it's naturally just like I'm your best friend. Like I'll help you pick out pieces. You know what I mean? My curation of my collection is that in a way. I mean, that's kind of how I think of putting collections out. Like, how would I wear it? What would I piece together? Working 9 to 5, having a job, but going out after for drinks or brunch or, you know, working out, going to the gym. You want to be cute, but you don't want to wear anything crazy. So having something minimal, but we have something for that.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? So like I think of every moment on how you'd want to wear jewelry and making it functional for you.
Which also that reminds me, when I was going through your website, I saw that you have a blog section. And I think one of the more recent articles was about working out with jewelry. First question is, have you been doing that since the beginning? And then second question, if not, if it's more recent, what made you realize that that's something you want to incorporate in your brand, your marketing, your storytelling?
Yeah. So I didn't start it off when I first launched the brand, just because it's a lot. It's a lot to like figure out what I want to talk about, what I want to feature, writing it up. So I didn't start it off early on. I did, though. One of my first jobs from college, I used to do the newsletters. I used to do the blogs. I used to do social media for a brand. So I knew I always wanted to do the blogs, just because a lot of people, you never really realize, but they read blogs.
So I work at a magazine, and a lot of my coworkers are on Substack, or they constantly read newsletters like The Skim, or just where they get their news a lot of the times is from those newsletters. So you're completely right.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, I totally like started, and for me too, I'm like, I want to connect with people. I want to do like style guides, you know? Like, and when I think about it, I think of magazine. Not that I want to have my own print, but maybe down the future I might want to go that route where it's more creative, and you know, I definitely
more like creative direction.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just started doing it, and I don't do it. I'm not as consistent as I'd love to be, which I'm trying to organize my life to be able to do it all and continue to do it all. But I'm very happy with where I'm at, because I give myself grace, knowing that I do a lot. That I'm like, okay. Like I said, I give myself grace, and I'm like, you'll get to it when you get to it.
Yeah.
But in terms of why, besides wanting to build a lifestyle brand, I feel like that's a component to it. Having people connect with the brand and knowing a little bit more beyond just photos and editorials from the jewelry on the website. And then also SEO, optimizing my website. So that's part of what I've done too, to help scale my website online, because in person, I have pop-ups every weekend. So for me, I'm able to connect with people in real life, in real time, get feedback. A lot of people come wearing Grisé and bring their friends. So for me, I'm able to connect with people in person, give them the jewelry in person so they could try it on, figure out their ring size. And I'm just a people person. Like, I love to connect with people. I love for people to know my story and know that I'm not just a jewelry brand. This brand I made in memory of my mother, so I hold every piece dear to my heart. A lot of people are surprised because they'll come to me. I bought this a year ago, and I'll tell them where I met them. And they're like, how do you remember that? Or, like, I'll remember ring sizes of people that, like, you could really just buy once. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it means so much to me that, and it's so close to my heart that I remember every detail, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I also want to go back to, you talked about like SEO, which is search engine optimization, something that in my job, we do a lot of, so I'm very knowledgeable of that. But what you're really talking about is 360 storytelling. You're looking at your brand from not just a product that you're selling, not just social media, but SEO, in-person events. You're trying to get at your customer in any way that they might be. Exactly, because some people, and as I'm creating this brand, I'm also starting to realize, again, even just within social media, that's one thing, right? Like the people that are on LinkedIn versus the people that are on Instagram versus people on Threads and like YouTube, and like everyone kind of gets their information different places just on social media, right? And then you have the people who go to Google, people who are now on ChatGPT, like me, and like, you know, so it's so smart of you, and I hope people really understand the importance of it, because in this day and age, you have to do everything. Yeah, literally. You cannot have a sort of one avenue that you're promoting your stuff. Even you being on this podcast, like, it's a part of you that's eventually going to promote your brand in some way. You know what I mean? So now you're realizing, like, yeah, you want to be behind the scenes, but there are times where you have to put yourself forward, 1,000%. And because people are going to connect with you and connect with your story, like you just said.
Exactly. And I've been understanding myself more as I continue to grow with my brand, and knowing, like, okay, and part of my brand, I'm the brand, and so, like, I really need to put myself out there more. I plan to do shoots with myself because I used to model, not like that, but you know, like you feel cute, and then like before when COVID was happening, like you get all those like, you know what I mean? Like I just was never that person to care enough to document. I'd rather just like, I look cute today. I got compliments. Great. Don't take a picture. I'm gonna use this outfit again. Right. You know what I mean? And that's part of it too, because, and I recycle a lot, but like a part of that is I don't need to be documented. I'm totally fine with that, you know? Yeah. But definitely betting on myself more and getting myself to be uncomfortable in those circumstances so that I don't limit myself. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm definitely aware. I'm definitely like getting better with that.
Yeah. So it is hard though. It is hard because even with this podcast, when I first started out, I mean, a lot of the clips so far that I have are of the guest. Like I really just want it to be, I did this because I want to put people on to other amazing creatives that are really trying to do stuff. You know what I mean? And people that I love and that I have purchased from and support. Yeah. But I'm actually filming a bonus episode, like a solo episode next week, because I'm also realizing like people also want to see my face. Yeah. And right now, a lot of my audience is like friends that are supporting me. But as I start to grow, they're going to want to know who's behind Bet on Black. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Who's this voice that I'm hearing every time that I come on? So I'm also starting to realize, okay, what's the balance between, you know, I still want this to be about the guest and this is not like the Monique Wilson show, but like it could be, you know what I'm saying? I am a Leo. But there is importance in what's the story behind the brand, who is behind the brand. And when we think about a lot of brands, even knowing like Nike's story, right? And like he has a whole book, Shoe Dog, about like how he got his start and how he got to where he's at. And people are inspired by that. People follow brands because of who's behind them. Totally. I do want to go back a little bit to the quality of the jewelry. And just for our listeners, if you have any tips on, obviously they should purchase your jewelry. That's the first step. Always. Okay. But for those who are, again, like just starting out, trying to figure out what works for them and what doesn't. Yeah. Do you have any tips on finding good quality jewelry? Yeah. Whether that's online, maybe looking at it, maybe if it's certain materials in the description that they can keep an eye out for, or if they're in person and they're touching it or look, you know, in certain lightings. I
think for sure, number one would just be educating yourself on the different types of materials. That way you could look at it and you could see the differences in quality in person, or not in person, online. Like you could visually see like 10K gold would be lighter versus the 24K gold, which is a little bit more golden in tone.
Okay, let me keep that in mind.
You know what I mean?
Got it.
You could kind of tell like what's what. With brass and copper, it's more costumey, you know, or at least what I've noticed when I do look at other jewelry. That's how I'm able to like. I could totally look at jewelry now and be like, okay, that's this material, and I quiz myself. But I'd first figure out what it is, what material you're into first, just visually, like what do you like. Then I'd go and figure out, okay, where can I actually like try it on, look at it in person, feel the weight. The weight is a big indicator too on quality. If it's light, it's not going to be as valuable if it's something heavy. And just also figuring out your style, like looking at blogs and seeing like, okay, I like maximalist, so you know you're going to do more statement and chunky. Also, you could do a mood board. I love doing mood boards because they help me organize all my random thoughts and like, okay, I can then analyze. I'm more cozy, so not necessarily a statement all the time. Maybe I'm doing more minimal, so then that might be the focus that I'm looking for, like a staple chain. Or I don't really wear rings, but I want to get into it, so maybe I might do something minimal, and that's my everyday. And then when it's a special event, I might do something statement that I can keep and wear for another statement type of a moment. But I totally say figure yourself out first before you just start buying things. And also knowing price point is a huge indicator too. So knowing how much you're willing to spend on something. And reviews are your best friends. Definitely, even with not just jewelry, like I always look at a review because a lot of people will tell you what it is.
I love when a website has reviews because I'm like, I will go into those reviews.
Literally.
I'll look at the picture. Yeah. I'll zoom in.
Yep.
I'll look at the weight, the height of the person,
exactly,
like everything.
And see, okay, are they, if they're, depending on like what information is present, are they similar to me? Like if it's clothing, you're like, okay, fit height-wise or like size, right? With jewelry, it's okay, does it feel heavy? If they're earrings, do they weigh down? They don't tarnish, or are they waterproof? I'll pay attention to those details. Also, how they're wearing it. Like, did they buy it just for one time, or do I know, like, they bought it because they're wearing it more than one time? You know what I mean? Like,
what's like, day. Is there like a price point that you're like, no one should pay jewelry?
No, I don't think so. Because for me, it's whatever speaks to you. Like, sometimes I might spend a lot of money on a piece of jewelry. I won't, because I only wear my brand. I won't. I know that's right. Like, if we're going to talk about a bag or shoes, right? I will spend money on the design. Like, if I really love the design, if I connect with the artist, you know, like, that to me is more value. Even with brands, like, I'm a sneakerhead. I have a lot of designer stuff because I like quality. I like certain design. But it's not because everybody else likes it. You know what I mean? And so, like, I'm very true to myself. And I think that you should stay true to you. If you feel like... Now, obviously, my rule of thumb is I wouldn't spend a ton of money on something that I could get a dupe of. The only time I would is if I really loved the design, right? Because, like, you get a dupe of a bag, but I would spend money on a bag. I would never get a fake bag just because... If I had to do that, then I shouldn't have it. That's just my thought and feel. Right. But I think there's a power in being able to get something for myself that I really like and admire. So,
are there any brands that you feel like, I'm thinking the Missouris, the Van Cleefs,
which is crazy. They shot in the studio that I used to work at.
Oh, really?
People on their team would love the jewelry because we'd go on set and everybody in the studio was wearing Grisé. And so, yeah, a lot of people would be like, hey, Missouri, a lot of the reps like your stuff.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm your competition. Y'all don't even know it.
Yes,
y'all even know it.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
But with brands like that are more name brands or whatever, do you personally feel like they're worth it in terms of value, in terms of the cost? And how much of it is really they're well-known and people recognize them?
I think for sure there's a brand in the city. I don't want to name the brand, but they're in the city, very well known. I think they blew up during COVID time.
Let me try to figure out which one it is.
I'm just say they do.
Y'all gotta figure out which one it is because she ain't gonna tell you.
Right. I'm just gonna say they do a lot of nameplate type jewelry. They're definitely in the city.
Okay.
But nameplate jewelry is like kind of what you see in their emails a lot. Everybody that when I would bring up, I do jewelry or whatever, everybody would bring up this brand and say how over time tarnishes or it made their finger green or like it fades over time. And so for me, it's definitely the hype. It's definitely the name. They definitely spent money on marketing and they blew up. So now it's like they're just known for, if you want to get this type of jewelry, you could get it there. For them, it's definitely not the quality. I think it's more so they're more familiar. And I feel like once you set yourself up for being known for a certain type of, not niche, but like a certain type of style that you know you could just get from there, people are going to buy into it. With Missouri, I love Missouri. Their quality is actually really good. I love their marketing. I love their branding. I think they're a clean brand all around. I like how they do unisex. They're similar to my aesthetic and how I want my brand to be seen, but I'm more Black and Spanish.
Right.
Like, I'm very much more culture. Like, I want that to stay very valid with everything that I do. I don't want my voice to ever change. I want it to be rock your style, be your own vibe. I don't want it to be... Like, I don't want it to ever be toned down or you be told you can't rock something a certain way because of whatever standard there might be. Like, there's no standard with Grisé. You're your own person. You're your own vibe. And rock it, you know?
Yeah. Period. Okay, we are running low on time. Yeah. We got so much into the design of it, which I'm so glad because that really is, I can tell, a really important part of your brand. And I know you... Even, like, I've gotten a lot of compliments on the production of this podcast, and there's certain things that you just invest in.
Yeah,
and so it's really nice when people appreciate that. Your jewelry has been featured in campaigns with Jordan Alexander. I saw Rema, Shansea. first of all, what was it like getting that call? Or like, how did you, when you first found out that...
Literally, every time I get any type of email, I screenshot it and I send it to my boyfriend, my siblings, my best friends. Like every time, literally, just because it's like, another person knows about Grisé. And to my sibling, it's like, another person's wearing something related to our mom. You know what I mean? Yeah. So today, someone hit me up for Doechii for the Met Gala. So, like, that's crazy. I know. And even to this moment, I'm like, what?
Me and Jordan just gasped.
I know. Literally.
Like, literally physically gasped.
Literally, I was charging my phone, put it on airplane mode, so I didn't even see the email until I got in the car. And which is also crazy because I'm a part of the creative class this year and she's on the lineup as well.
Yes.
So I'm like, I told myself, I was like, I'm going to meet her. I'm going to give her some Grisé. I'm going to just talk to her and like, you know, give her flowers because I admire her and just her story and how she was just so fearless and was like, you know what? I'm just going to walk into these
She would rock the shit out of your jewelry. Exactly. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. No, but she would rock the shit out of your jewelry.
And so for me, I was like, wow. So a lot of these people, they just contact me. Like, and I ask, so I do pull forms. And in that, I ask, how did you hear about them? Because for me, I'd like to know, how did you find out about my brands? A lot of it's social media. A lot of it are stylists, you know, referring me, loving the pieces. I've had people that were on set. They weren't the main stylist, but they got my info and now they're working on a main project. And so I never reach out to people, which though, I think for me, I'm always thinking of how to get more brand awareness. And so I don't do lookbooks per season. I just always tell them to view my website because you'll see all the editorials. But I think I will start to create lookbooks to just send out like, hey, these are some new pieces. If you have any clients type thing, which then that connects back to like just retail, right? Right. So it's I'm always finding a way to position myself in a different way to just get more awareness. But for me, that excites me because I don't know, it's not work. Yeah. It's like I know where my brand should be. I know who should be wearing it or who I'd want to wear it.
That brings me to my second question. So obviously Doechii is coming up, which I'm glad this pod is coming out before the Met Gala. So okay, period. But are there any other celebrities that you would love to get? Give me like top 3 to 5, maybe.
Definitely Rihanna. Definitely Tiana. Like those are my 2 girls that I cannot wait.
Are we not all excited for what she's gonna wear to the Met Gala?
I know.
Like she's gonna eat that down.
Every time. I
can't wait.
I know, me too. I definitely want like ASAP. Like I don't want just females. I want guys because you gotta like having them 2 in it, their children, like figuring out some type of definitely would love that. SZA, my Scorpio sis, love her vibe. I'm like, who else? I definitely would love like. If we do sports, I'm like, I want to hit like a LeBron. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just fashion folks. Like, I want athletes. I want to be a lifestyle brand, you know? So it's definitely hitting every type of category and every type of fly person. And if you're not fly, we'll get you fly. With
right.
You know?
Oh my gosh. Wait, I'm so happy right now because I can like see this. Yeah. Like, I love when I talk to people and they're so passionate and they're so like, vision forward that I can see it happening for you.
And we're manifesting this. Yes. So like, to look back on this is going to be amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Like we did it.
So you mentioned the creative class. So that's the Creative Collective's creative class. And you were a part of it, or you're part of it this year. Yep. What is it like to start to sort of receive your flowers and recognition from outside of maybe your like intimate community?
It's insane. It still doesn't feel real. Like I literally, and it's insane to even not to receive that reward. It's just to be alongside like Doechii. Like what? You know what I mean? Like
they have some heavy
globally known. Like I'm in New York City, and I sell internationally, but like just to be on that, I'm like. Yes, I deserve to be here, but like, wow, I'm here. Right, you know what I mean?
Right.
But even with that, like, I didn't receive the email right away. It went to my junk mail, and I was late. And
check your junk mail.
Literally. And so now I regularly, like, maybe every 2 to 3 days, that like they might have hit me up congratulating me. Like December 22nd, they asked for you to send materials on like the 27th. I was reading this on January 3rd.
Wow.
So luckily their team kept following up. Once I seen it, I was like, you know what? The form was still open because they send out a form and you fill out things or information. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fill it out and then I'm gonna follow up with the email and then I'm just gonna keep contacting them.
Yeah.
But then luckily, and it was a weekend, whichever date that was. Mm-hmm. So I told myself, you know what? I'll contact them first thing Monday. Literally 2 hours before sending that email, they had followed up like, hey, you could send all materials by Wednesday. So I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you. Yeah.
So definitely check your junk mail. Yeah. But when I received that and even seen that, I yelled. I yelled, closed my eyes because I was like, shut up. Like, what? But also, like, wow. And I don't know. Because I see my brand being in a certain space that when things are happening, it's still like, well, I'm still not where I want to be. So like, amazing, I'm here, I'm receiving my blessings, I'm embracing them, but I don't get too happy where I'm stuck in it and I don't progress. Right. You know what I mean? Like, there's always growth and my mind is always positioning myself to figure out what's the next step to be seen or what's the next event that I should be a part of to, target a certain crowd.
And you know what I feel from you? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel it because I feel that I have it. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense. Well, I'll explain. Totally. But like, what you're talking about, some people might think that that's you not taking the time to appreciate where you're at or being grateful, right. Maybe. Right. But what I see that as is that you see so much for yourself.
Absolutely.
So much for yourself and for the brand.
Yes.
And you have such a strong vision. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for people like us, where we have that, we do have to take those moments to kind of take a breath, right. And say, and we're always grateful, mm-hmm. always humble.
Always praying.
But we are always thinking, okay, what can we do next?
Exactly.
Like, this is not it. You know what I mean? There's always more things you can do, more ways you can grow. So I love that. And congrats on the creative class. That is like, creative class, I'll be coming for you soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But I also, so my last question is, mm-hmm. and this is like a random question, but you mentioned selling internationally, which even getting outside of selling to your community, mm-hmm. right? Then maybe maybe like a regional.
Yeah.
Then a national community, and now you're selling international. Yeah. Where's like the furthest place that you've had to ship to?
Australia.
Which
was insane.
Wow.
And that was around Christmas time. So I'm like, oh, is this like a present?
Probably.
Like, I was like, that's so cute.
Do you do like gift wrapping services with your...
Not yet.
Okay.
Only because I want to.
Okay.
But then I'm like, okay, I might... depending on the amount of the
yeah,
I'm still figuring things
out. It's another thing that you have to do.
It's another thought process where like I want to hit it right and I want it to be special and I want the person receiving it to like feel warm and happy, mm-hmm. So it's like making sure that all that hits on top of being cautious on pricing and tariffs now. Like, it's like I'm very mindful of that and I don't get too crazy where I do want to do too much and literally do too much.
Right.
I tone myself down a little bit and I remind myself like, calm down, make it like, jot it down. Right. You'll get to it when you get to it. But
because when you do it, you also want to do it well.
Exactly. Yeah. And because I want to do it well and I want it to be received a certain way, just like how my brand in general, I think about everything. I'm super intentional. And if it's gift wrapping, I want it to be something quirky but cute that makes you giggle, but I don't know, makes it feel like, wow, this person or this brand is so dope that it made me feel special just off of something so small.
Okay, guess what? I literally just had a memory as you were talking about like how much thought you want to put into your gift wrapping. When I received your jewelry, I remember there was a note inside. Yeah. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like this is so sweet. And I think I read it to my roommate because I was like, this is so sweet. Like it was a handwritten note. Yeah. It was from you. I wish I remember what it said. But like it just again speaks to how much thought and time that you put into your customers, people who are paying money. I'm
super appreciative. Yeah. So for me, like that makes me so happy to know that was your
I just randomly remembered it literally in this moment and I was like, everything that she's telling y'all is like so real, authentic to experiences that I've even had, again, before we even met. We could have talked about so much more, because now I want to ask you about the tariffs, I want to ask you about everything else, so we might need to do a part 2.
I'm here for
But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you share where people can find you?
Of course. So you can find me. I'm like, do I look here?
I don't know where she look. Okay, that one.
You can find me at Grisé, www.grisé- so that nyc.com. On Instagram, it's grise.nyc, so it's GRISE.nyc. Me, I'm simply Georgina, simply spelled out exactly, Georgia with an N. Because some people spell Georgina.
How do they spell Georgina?
Georgena. Like,
that must
bizarre.
Be, okay,
so that's why I was like, Georgia
it's always
with an N. It's simply Georgina.
Okay.
Exactly like that. And then in my link, you could always see where I'm gonna have a pop-up, which I have a pop-up
in Houston, right?
I'm doing that next month.
Okay,
super excited. That's my first out of state, not out of state, but out of the East Coast,
right?
Pop-up. Super excited about that. This Sunday, Brooklyn Creators Market, the 27th. That's also in my bio. In general, people always ask me, where's your pop-up? I always post where I'll be at in my link in bio on my Instagram, grise.nyc, and
yeah, and all the links will be down below. If you want to follow Bet on Black, it's betonblk.media on IG, and my IG is Monique WNYC. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for embracing me.
Of course. Really this was so great. And every time I do these episodes, I'm just like, this is why I'm doing this. Yeah. This is like, I get so much from these conversations, even just as someone who's like going and starting something of my own. Mm-hmm. Even if nobody else listens, I'm like, I'm listening. I'm clocked in.
I will say the biggest and the hardest thing is to start. So at the end of the day, as long as you start, that's half the battle. Yeah. Because once you do start, it's gonna start making more sense. Yeah. All the pieces are gonna start coming together and connecting. You start meeting the right people because now your mind is naturally like manifesting what you want. So like everything starts to, you could stress out, but stay true to your vision, starting, and then just staying consistent. And it'll happen. Even if it's one person right now, it's going to be 500. Yeah. 1,000. Like, it's going to always grow as long as you keep putting your all into it. People attract to that. And connect to that. And there's so many people in this world that it's all on you. Yeah. Bet on yourself.
Yeah. The last thing I will say is one of the previous episodes that I did was with my friend. We went to school together. He's Nigerian. He has a fashion brand. Bush Boy. Yeah. Has he created? He's done the create. He's from Jersey. Yeah. I was wondering if you guys had met, but one of the things that I really took away from his pod is just like, you just have to start. Like, you have to start. And there are so many people who have amazing ideas. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But the difference between the person who has the idea and the person that does it, you know, is starting. So, all right, we ending this. Cut. Bye, y'all.